First, let's bring in Krista. Krista, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, my pleasure. Give our audience a little background on you, what you do, and then I really want to get into what does Altitude Products do?
Sure, absolutely. I actually did not try cannabis myself until I was 30. I was staunchly a DARE graduate and actually a complete prohibitionist about cannabis use. Became a medical patient. And that really led me on a journey to become a cannabis entrepreneur. And today I'm the founder and CEO of Altitude Products, which is a large cannabis conglomerate in Nevada and California with THC products in those states and then CBD products, which are non-psychoactive, nationwide.
All right. So tell us, let's drill down into this Altitude Products. I've got your website up and I'm looking around at it. What is the main focus that your company is really working on? And then let's break it down into the different types of products, the market penetration,
Absolutely.
and what's going on. I also really wanted to talk about what's going on with the federal oversight of the cannabis industry. There's a lot of stuff happening from the states to the federal side on that.
Absolutely. Today cannabis is, of course, federally illegal. And, with our organization, we design cannabis products that unify the cannabis community. It's taken 80 years of activism to have the regulated cannabis industry that we have today. And so, certainly it's an ever-changing landscape. It is America's fastest-growing industry with growth of 7% month over month. And right now, we highly anticipate that this will be the year that we have some level of federal oversight around banking. Banking is a huge challenge for cannabis businesses. As you can imagine, there's a large amount of cash, particularly in tourist-heavy markets like Las Vegas, where we have people who are trying cannabis in a regulated environment for the first time. And that large amount of cash actually becomes a public safety concern when you don't have a bank to safely store your money in. And so banking, I really feel like, is, what we hope to be a change coming here in 2018.
All right. What kind of changes do you see happening? I mean, let me jump before you answer that. I mean, because Ed Baxter, co-host of the show, we talk a lot about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. I can see that this is a natural dovetail for that.
Actually, on Friday, we actually talked about Potcoin, which is the one of the cryptos that are actually used for that particular community. We also talked about some of the states and some of the countries that are looking to potentially legalize the use of cannabis, in addition to what we see as a potential national legalization going in Canada in July of this 2018. I know those are things that just kind of buttressing what you do, but just wanted to kind of give an update on what we talked about on Friday.
Yeah, so go ahead, Krista. I mean,
yeah, that's wonderful, and I love all of the female-owned cannabis businesses. Potcoin is another one. Some majority women-owned companies, and so I think that's really an exciting aspect to the cannabis industry. We have a larger than average percentage of women-owned businesses, and certainly, I think crypto is obviously something that we're seeing a lot of markets, specifically in Hawaii. If you want to buy cannabis, you're certainly doing it through crypto, which is great. But, what we hope to see is just a loosening where we can at least have state-based credit unions that allow for some level of cannabis-friendly banking. And certainly in more mature markets like Colorado and California, we see that those are options. Sadly, here in Nevada, we don't have those options today. And so we certainly, hope that 2018 will see some changes coming. I don't think with the current administration that Jeff Sessions is ever going to warm to the idea of federally legalizing cannabis, but even every inch forward around the banking regulations would certainly help to keep our communities safe.
well, what is happening on that? I mean, do we have to wait for another administration before the banking loosens up? Because this stuff isn't going away. Too many states are pushing it forward and allowing this. And then you get a little pushback from the federal government. Even advertising. I mean, I had somebody come to me from the cannabis industry with $20 million to spend. I was like, I don't know. I mean, is the FCC going to crack down on me because I'm taking advertising money from something that is federally noted as being illegal, but the state says it's okay? I mean, this is a real quagmire.
It really is. Unfortunately, the majority of the states in the union and the District of Columbia have all legalized cannabis, either medically or recreationally. And so, it is definitely a challenge that we face every day. I think just being realistic and not being, too overly optimistic. I think that, I don't think that we're going to see a loosening of those regulations necessarily, from a federal standpoint, to the point where, all 50 states are allowed to have that banking. But I think that, going in the right direction, we definitely have some regulations on debt. And, we have some legislators, certainly from here in our great state of Nevada, that are hard at work. New Jersey, there's some great leadership in the government that are really working hard to, bring banking regulation forward. And even if we can certainly have, some level of regulated banking options, I think it certainly helps to keep our community safe, which is really has to be the number one driver, whether you are a believer in cannabis use or not. It has to be about, limiting theft and, the risk to everyone who lives in all of our communities.
Well, you don't take the cash and put it, because now I just came back from Colorado. And, they take credit cards now, but you don't take the cash and just put it in a box. It's got to go in the bank. So is there any problems with that I'm getting from this?
Yeah, there definitely are some big problems. And, Colorado is certainly the most mature market for regulated cannabis. So, they're further along than you'll see other markets. Certainly even in California or Nevada, it's very rare that they offer, debit or credit cards. So in these up-and-coming states, we've got Massachusetts coming online, Maine, Vermont, all this summer. As you mentioned, Canada, and what's the approach that Canada is going to take, to all of this. But you ultimately end up with a large amount of cash that typically sits in a vault, and, you pay a great deal in security, and, becomes a safety issue. And so, for those communities, the banking regulations, if we had the ability even just to be able to deposit that in the bank, that would really eliminate a lot of those public safety concerns for everyone in the industry. Because it's something that even your part-time employees working in these dispensaries need to be aware of, because it's an added risk to being in this industry that is so cash heavy.
I get it. All right, we only have a few more minutes left, and I want some more other topics on the show. Should states limit the potency of marijuana products? Absolutely.
The cannabis that you see today is certainly not the cannabis that we all experienced in the 70s. And I think it's really important that, we recognize that technology around cannabis extraction has evolved, and that the potency is certainly higher than ever before. There's just no reason for us to have edibles over 100 milligrams unless you're a medical patient. And in that case, then it certainly should be under a doctor's care and with their guidance. So, I think most of the folks that I talk to that are leaders in our industry, we are huge fans of regulation. We're huge fans of limiting the potency of regulated cannabis products. And we think it's tremendously important to keep everyone safe.
All right. What are some of the interesting short-term and long-term trends you're seeing in the space? We talked a lot about them already, but hit the highlights here.
Absolutely. I think that, it would be hard to argue against 2018 not being the year of the woman. And, I think that is certainly, in the cannabis industry, something that is, top of mind. Products for women. Women are the fastest growing demographic of cannabis users. It's no longer, the Cheech and the Chong that are going to the dispensary. And so certainly we are seeing products that are specifically geared towards women. A great brand, of course, is Whoopi and Maya. Whoopi Goldberg's brand of cannabis specifically for women who are menstruating or on menopause and looking to medicate. They don't want to get high. They just, of course, want to lessen their monthly discomfort. So that certainly is one trend. I would also say 2018 is absolutely the year of CBD. CBD is a non-psychoactive component of the cannabis plant or hemp plant that just serves as an anti-inflammatory and as a neuroprotectant. It's wonderful for veterans who have PTSD. And so I think that's going to be both a short-term trend and a long-term trend, but certainly in 2018, those are things that we're watching. Long-term, I think it's just the season of, this business growing and growing and more brands going nationwide.
Krista, we got to go, but thanks for being here on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Krista Whitley, founder, CEO, Altitude Products, altitudeproducts.com. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, Ed Baxter, Private Equity Spotlight, will be on the show with us. You've been listening to CEO Money, segment brought to you by The Vitamin Patch.